Hey guys, I'm sure you've noticed the new Toyota Camry beside me. It's so sleek, it's so modern, it's so sexy, but is it any good and how new is it really? Well, in this video, I'm going to take a closer look at its styling. I'm going to check out the interior and then I'm going to take it for a test drive so I can decide what's better about it, what's worse, and whether the Camry is still the king of the slightly upmarket but still a bit modest and relatively executive sedans. I'm Ju-Len, this is MrChia. Let's check out the new Toyota Camry together. So this is the Camry XV80. There's only one version available in Singapore in one trim level, and it's the 2.5 litre full hybrid in elegance trim. It replaces the XV70, and Toyota says it's a new 9th generation model. But honestly, I'm not 100% sure it's all that new. I mean, for one thing, if you look under the bonnet, well, it looks the same. I mean, the general layout of the engine is the same. Even the routing of these hoses and cables is the same. Things like the placement of the fuse box, the air box, completely the same. And even this, well, cold air intake for the engine, identical to what came before. But trust me, that is a good thing because it means that Borneo Motors technicians should be able to work on this puppy pretty much with their eyes closed.
Nope, nope, nope.
One thing that's definitely new though is the hybrid system's battery, which is now a lithium-ion pack instead of nickel metal hydride. And guys, just because the engine is the same doesn't mean the outputs are the same as before. This one makes 185 horsepower, which I think is 10 more than before. And even the motor is slightly higher in output, 134 horsepower. Now, engines and motors peak at different RPMs, so you can't just add those two figures together. But the system output here is 227 horsepower, which I think is 20 more than before. And that is better. So what else is better? Well, if you ask me, the styling. Okay, I know styling is subjective, but come on, just look at this thing. I really like what Toyota has going here with this hammerhead design. And I love how slender these new headlights are and how they kind of meet in a very narrow grille. It looks very aggressive and can't really see this from there, but the front end of the car actually kind of tips forward very aggressively like a shark. And check out this trapezoidal grille. I mean, it's got these nice diamond elements inside, but they also give the car a very nice wide and planted stance. And I tell you what, if you don't like the look of this thing, well, because it looks like a Prius, well, the Toyota Crown also has this face, and the next CHR is gonna have it too. So if you dislike what you see here, well, too bad. Now over at the side here, you've got these 18-inch wheels that kind of fill the arches quite nicely, but well, in terms of the design, I think it's kind of ho-hum. 5 out of 10 for that one. Now, some sources on the internet say that the new Camry has the same doors as well as the same roofline as the one before. I don't really know about that, but I can tell you that the wheelbase is 2825 millimeters. That's the same as before, and that really tells me that this is a very, very heavy facelift of the previous Camry. Now I think things unravel slightly over here at the back, although I will say I do like this black panel over here that joins the roof with the rear windscreen. It's a very sporty touch, and it's something the new BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe does as well. Okay, have a look at these lobster claw taillight designs. They look like they're straight out of a Subaru. Well, Toyota owns 20% of Subaru, so I guess they can do what they like. But I think the real purpose here is to kind of repeat that hammerhead motif that the front of the car has. I do like the Camry spelled out in big, bold letters, very contemporary, but I think it's actually visually quite bulky up here with this mass over here. And if you squint hard enough, you can actually see a lot of the previous Camry in this as well. But tell you what, have a look at this HEV badge over here. That tells you this is a full self-charging hybrid, which is nice, but Toyota used to do that by having a blue badge over here. Whatever happened to subtlety? Okay, it is so much better than before inside here, guys. And since the heavens have decided to open up, let's talk about the new interior. Let's start with the new driver instruments. It is a full digital panel now. And I'm just going to cycle through the driving modes so you get a sense of just how sharp and bright the colors are. But it's not glaring, it doesn't bombard your eyeballs with photons. Now this is actually much better than before. The last Camry in Singapore had a 7-inch screen. This is 12.3 inches, so you can see it's getting better all the time. And it's still very neat, and it's a nice layout. Before we get into that though, I do want to talk about this part of the cabin. Like, okay, so I'm used to seeing big swathes of piano black plastic now. So you'll see that in a Mercedes and all that. I'm kind of indifferent to it now. It is a little bit textured here, so it's quite nice in the Toyota. I'm not really sure why they would do this though. It kind of cordons off the passenger into their own compartment. And you know, I would have preferred it if this was kind of left nice and open to give the cabin a more airy feel. But anyway, it is definitely improved here. It's much tidier in this area. The previous car was kind of a mishmash of lines, and all important, buttons for the climate control is so easy to use. These aircon vents are a little bit teeny tiny for my liking, but never mind, because I do have ventilated seats. And I do have a row of buttons over here as well, including one for the 360 camera, which is very good and very useful to have. So overall, I would say this is very Toyota, because whatever should be button operated is button operated, and it's just so easy to use. And something new I want to demo right now is a new vocal assistant. Hey Toyota, I'm feeling warm.
Setting the driver's temperature to 23.0 degrees.
Okay, that's actually not too bad. It is a new feature, but it's not super clever, I have to say. So let's try something like, hey Toyota, open my window.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you.
Now, of course, that actually works in some other cars. So as I said, this one isn't actually too clever. And if you find the voice familiar, that's because I think it's powered by a company called Seren's Technology, and that provides the voice control for just about half the cars on sale today. So it is a sort of off-the-shelf solution available. But let's try one more. Hey Toyota, I am just a new channel, so please subscribe. She's thinking about it.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you.
Okay, as I said, not too bright there, but hey, you're pretty bright, right? So please consider subscribing. We are a new channel and we could really use your support. Thank you very much. Okay, back to the hardware now. I just want to make a point about how much neater it is over here. And let's talk about storage space for a second. I don't know about you, but when I get into the car for the first time, I take all my crap out and just kind of dump it here. So I've got space for a mobile phone. Let's say I actually have a charging pad over here, so 2 mobile phones if I carry 2. I would have put my wallet here, and maybe even say my car keys, which I keep on the lanyard. So you know what, lots of space for that sort of stuff, but you can stow it all the way inside here, which is actually pretty deep if you really want, and then keep the rest of your Camry pretty tidy. Of course, a couple of obligatory cup holders over here. And I will say that the door pockets are kind of ridiculously small in this car. So this bottle is not going to fit down here. Or if it does, it's kind of a halfway pinch kind of thing. So I don't know what's going on there, but the rest of it is pretty practical. One thing I do want to note though is that you have wireless Apple CarPlay with this. Well, Android is still wired, but at least the USB port is down there, because in the previous Camry, it was actually a USB port up here and you had to have an unsightly wire dangling from up here down to your phone. So Toyota, welcome to the present. Okay guys, let's talk about quality for a second. And now I did mention this swathe of black, well, piano black plastic before. I think it's become something like an industry norm. So I'm gonna give Toyota a pass on that. Besides, the other plastics are actually quite nice to your fingernails. I mean, that's nice and soft. This area is good and soft as well. The controls feel actually quite nice and robust. There are some lower grade hard plastics here. But otherwise, I think it's no worse than before. And you know what? Just for how much more modern this looks and how much neater it is, I think this whole area is better. Okay, back here. Definitely an improvement, mostly because of this guy here. Now, as before, there's still a lot of leg room and no shortage of headroom, but in case I did want a little bit more, well, I could use this panel here to just recline the seats a little bit. Look at that. And of course, I can do the same with that one over there. And you know, it's a very Lexus touch, this, so I can raise the sunshade over there, or I have one over here as well, but I kind of have to use muscle power for that one. And I can also control the sound system as well as the aircon temperature from here. So all the things that I want to do to kind of sit here like a boss, like literally like a boss. I do miss, however, the switches that you used to have here for the front passenger seats. Why is this important? Well, in our part of the world, Asia, it's really not uncommon to see a Camry being used with a chauffeur. It's kind of like the black town car in many Asian cities. So I would say that if this is how you use your Camry, this is definitely better. But if there is one area that's definitely worse, well, it's back here. Now the boot gives you 500 litres, which sounds like a lot, but it is actually 24 litres down from the previous Camry. I don't exactly know why that is, but I think it has to do with the mechanism for those reclining seats. And guess what? You also lose the functionality of dropping those rear seats to expand the boot. There used to be a kind of hook or latch here that you could do to do that, but it's gone. Well, this is a Toyota though, so you still get handy features like these grocery hooks over here, and there are some kind of cargo net hooks down there. And let's have a look at what's underneath here. Okay, well, I see a spare tire and it looks like a space saver. And you know what? I'm gonna bet that you could get a couple of golf bags in here at least. I don't know that for sure, but I would bet money on that because it just wouldn't be a Camry if you couldn't. Something else that's worse? Well, the fuel consumption. I don't know why, but it's now 5.1 litres per 100 kilometers. And it used to be 4.4 litres per 100 in the old Camry. But I will say 5.1 is actually pretty phenomenal in a car this size. And my experience with Toyota hybrids is that the technology really does work. I just don't know why the consumption is 16% worse in this car compared to the previous Camry. On the other hand, the acceleration is noticeably better, and maybe that's why. Okay, this car is downright perky. It picks up speed without hesitation, and I've actually been driving around in the eco mode the whole time, and it's not sluggish at all. And you know, that's something I felt as soon as I jumped on board the new Camry, and the stopwatch agrees. 0 to 100 in this car is now just 7.2 seconds compared to 8.5 seconds from before. So yeah, performance better. Okay guys, I'll tell you what, I actually really enjoy driving the Camry, and that's because it feels balanced and it doesn't actually have much body roll through corners. Okay, it actually doesn't have a lot of grip, but it is very, very predictable. And I'll tell you what, it is also very nice in terms of steering because the steering is nicely weighted and it is very linear. And what I mean by that is when you make an input on the steering, there's a very direct correlation to how the car responds. And in that sense, it's very much the same as before. I tell you what though, this is a comfortable car. I mean, the engine doesn't sound like Pavarotti, but when you do hear it, it actually sounds pretty far away. And the suspension, I mean, it's never wallowy or floaty, and yet it soaks up bumps really well. I would say it is firm, but it's definitely not jittery, and this is not a bouncy car. So in terms of ride comfort, it really hits some kind of sweet spot. So I should probably confess something, guys. I actually used to have a Camry. I kind of married into it. I had a car with 3 pedals, she had a Camry, and when we got together, we could only keep one car, and so the one with the stick shift had to go. But it was a good trade overall, I would say. And I'll tell you what, in 7 years of having a Camry, only 2 things ever went wrong with that car. The first one was the 12-volt battery, and I just changed that myself. And the next one was the rear shock absorbers, which is kind of a wear and tear item anyway. And I think that's fabulous, right? That's the one thing about this new Camry that I don't need to be better. I just want it to stay the same, the reliability and durability. And do you have a Camry ownership story? Well, if you do, just leave it in the comments. I'm really curious to know about your experience with this most Toyota of all the Toyotas. So now you know what's better, what's worse, and what's more or less the same. And now I have to mention something much, much worse. I filmed this in November 2024, and this car's price at that time was $254,388. That's like 100 grand more than it was just 3 years ago. Since then, we've had higher taxes, more expensive COEs. Well, it's just not pretty. Despite that, I really want to give this car 2 thumbs up because honestly, if I had the money, I think I would buy it. I mean, the new Camry is good looking. It's quiet and refined and spacious inside. It's also a little bit plush, and of course the fuel economy is outstanding. I know there are more exciting cars out there, but I've had two Toyotas now and both have been an absolute joy to own. So I've tried to be objective in this review, telling you what's better, what's worse, but at the end of it all, I think the best thing about the new Toyota Camry is not so much the Camry part, but the Toyota part. Okay, where's my script? Son of a bitch.
Nope.
Borneo Motors technicians should be able to work on this baby with their eyes closed. Hey, if you have any questions about this or any new car in Singapore, WhatsApp me at the number below and I'll do my best to help. Thanks for watching. See you again.